Welcome back, everyone, to our gameplay series of Pure Farming 2018. So we left off last time by repurchasing both our cows and our pigs after selling them off and obtaining the profit. And as you can see in the top right hand corner, we're a little over $18,000 at this particular point in profit between the sale of the animals as well as our renewable energy income. So I logged in today, getting ready to start recording, and I noticed something odd. So let's go ahead and take a look at that first. If we come back under our notifications, you can see that our orchards have been reset. Okay, I would expect to see the cow barn and the pigsty at 3 days. We just purchased the new animals, and this looks exactly the way I would expect it to, but the orchards are saying 3 days, which would indicate that we just harvested and sprayed, and now we are ready to go for another 3-day cycle. However, we already know that's not the case. The last time we looked at this in the previous video, it showed us that we had 1 day remaining, and we needed to, because I needed to go and spray, which I did. So we had 1 day remaining on these. So now it shows that they've been reset. Well, I'm hoping that's not the case, because if it is, we just skipped a harvest. So in order to find out for sure, I'm going to go ahead and hop over to that particular shed, and we're going to pick up one of these tractors and go find out, because I want to see a couple of things. And one of them I can already see. Notice the pears on the trees. You don't get that at the beginning of a cycle whenever they're just started to grow. Okay, we've got, let's see, 90% water, 72% water storage. So we're fine there. All of that looks good. Do I have anything ready for pickup and sale? I do not. Okay, there is nothing in that box. But yeah, these definitely don't look like pear trees that are 3 days away from being ready to harvest. That's for sure. In fact, on neither of our fields here does it look that way. These look like the pears that are ready to be harvested tomorrow, which would make sense because that's where we should be. Alright, so this is going to be interesting to see if this, I'm going to make sure nothing's in the box. I wouldn't expect there to be, given the graphical situation of the trees and how they're showing the pears, but have to check anyway just to make sure. Alright, so now I'm in a situation where I'm not sure what to expect from tomorrow. Of course, we know we don't have anything left to do today. We've got our $18,000, but we're not ready to spend any of that just yet. But it does give me a little bit of pause about how we're going to continue from here. And what I mean by that is I'll be a little more hesitant to purchase an additional orchard if this thing really is going to reset and go back to 3 days, because that would be a lot of harvest that we end up missing if it does that periodically. So I might decide to go instead with more cow barns or continue upgrading our pigsties and so forth. So we'll have to see how this works out, but we're going to go ahead and cut the video here, and I'll be back whenever we figure out the answer to our looming question. Alright, so we are now on day 8, as you can see in the top left-hand corner of the screen. Day 8 on the calendar. So let's take another look inside our notifications, and lo and behold, thank you very much. The orchards are ready to be harvested, or should I say the harvest is ready to be picked up. And then, of course, the cow barn and the pigsty now show 2 days. So everything looks exactly the way I would expect it. Whew, that was a close one. So we got some bugs, again, still to work out. But those were bugs that had me a little worried, because we were going to miss out on a lot of income. All right, so let's go ahead and drop this attachment. We don't need the water tank right now. Instead, we need to fill up this trailer and get to selling some fruit. All right, you see the sprinklers on both fields right now. And to me, at this point, what I see whenever I see that is I see water just needing to be replenished in the tank. So that's what I see whenever I see the sprinklers now. At first you see it and it's like, wow, that's a very nice game mechanic and something nice to see that adds to the immersion. And then after a while you say, oh, now that means I'm going to have to go refill the water tank. So how quickly things can change. All right, let's get, if I remember correctly, from last time we had a total of, it was almost 3 full loads. 2 full trailer full, and then about 3/4 of a trailer full, maybe a little bit more than that, on that final 3rd load. The good news for us is we are right here next door to where we need to sell this, so we don't have very far to go with this full load. Over 35,000 pounds of pears. That's a lot of pears. All right, I am sure glad that things turned out the way they did whenever the calendar flipped over to day 8, because I was really worried that we were going to miss a harvest. And of course, this is our moneymaker here. The pear harvest from these 2 orchards is definitely our moneymaker for now. All right, we're up to 33,400. Just from that sale alone, we got 13,300. So a very, very nice harvest already, and we're of course not done. Okay, so we'll head back over and we'll fill up. So what I'll do is I'll pick up the remainder from this box, and then we'll head over. Look at there, it shows it's only, what is that, like 15-20% full, but if you look at it in the trailer, that looks quite a bit more than that. It looks like probably about 50% at least, if not more. All right, so we'll drive through the sprinklers. And yep, there goes our water storage, down to 18%, now 17. I'm not sure why it's continuing to use water when the water level is showing at 100%, but I suppose this is the game's way of making sure I have plenty to do. They want to make sure I don't miss out on any opportunities to refill that water storage. All right, there we go. So the graphics actually stop increasing somewhere around 50% for the most part. Yeah, the trailer is only about 50% full when graphically it appears full on screen. All right, come on, tractor. Pull us on around. So we will have some nice profit indeed. We're making about $1,900 a day from our renewable energy at this point. So of course we're going to continue to expand on that as well. Because before too long, again, it was just shy of a month. I was thinking around 3 weeks. Looks like some of these solar panels in particular might be generating a little bit less income than they did before the patch. We'll see if that's the case once we get a little farther along, but anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks we'll make back our initial investment on the renewable energy, and then we'll be pure profit from there on out. So there's no doubt these orchards are a great way to get going on the money side of things. Another great way, of course, is the animals. So we don't want to forget about them. We want to continue expanding and making sure that we fully upgrade our pigsties and our cow barns, as well as purchasing more of those. But I must admit, I'm feeling a little antsy about doing some field work. about getting back to that, because there's just something about it. I really enjoy that part. And of course, that's always a huge part of any farming simulation type game, is the field work itself. So I'm really hoping that we can get back to that sooner rather than later. All right, now we're off to pick up our final load, and I'm going to head right back through the field once again. For one, just as a little bit of a shortcut, but the other is I want to see if indeed it has used all of the water out of storage. And sure enough, it has, even though it didn't need to. Okay, so we'll have to refill the water storage as well as going ahead and spraying now that it's time for a new harvest. Here we go. And there we go. Graphically, it's basically full at this point, and we're about halfway full physically. And yeah, there you go. Almost 3 full loads. Very nice. So that puts us up over 46,700 at this point, plus another probably what, 11,000 or so, 10 or 11,000 we'll get from this delivery. I must say I enjoy, now that I have been able to decrease the sensitivity of the keyboard steering, I like it a lot better. It's no longer nearly as sharp, and I'm using the minimum sensitivity for that. It's still pretty sharp. I mean, I can just barely touch and you can see it jumps for sure, but not nearly as badly as it was before. And then on things like driving that pickup truck, I think that's beyond repair. I don't know that you could get the sensitivity down low enough to make it manageable. So we'll just have to deal with it whenever we need to drive it. We'll just deal with it as is. And just try to use it for our quickest possible transportation and not worry about how it actually drives. All right, here we go. Final sale. Again, I'd expect this to be somewhere around 10 or 11,000. Somewhere in that range. There we go, 10,641. So now that brings our current bank account to 57,377. And that's the goal, is to every time we do a harvest, as we continue to expand, then we will get even more daily income. And before long, we'll be able to purchase quite a bit after each one of these harvest cycles. So now we need to head our way back over, and we need to get to spraying, because I believe we can actually get by with the water being at 0 in the storage as long as it's 100% in the field. Either way, I'm going to refill it, so it's not that big a deal, but I don't plan on doing it right now if I can get by with it, because I would like to move over and actually spend that money as we had been planning on. Okay, so we're already full in our spray tank. When you think about that, 528 gallons, that is a lot. And I know it's fairly expensive too to refill that tank. So that definitely eats into your profit a little bit. So once we get done spraying here, we'll take a look in our notifications, and we'll see if it shows everything as being good to go for this field, and then if it is, then we'll definitely move over and we'll look at purchasing another orchard. The one we had talked about previously, but unfortunately didn't get a chance to purchase with the last harvest proceeds. All right, and thankfully this process seems like it goes quicker now than it did the first time I did it. I know it's not, because we're still going 6 or 7 miles an hour through the field, but it just seems quicker, and thankfully with the way the sprayer is set up, you don't have to go down. Oop, wait, come back. Alright, I just need to turn it on for just a second. Can we get that last one? Are we going to get the last one? Yeah, there we go, we got it. Again, watching the mini map in the bottom left hand corner, it tells me, it puts the blue icon over each of the trees as they get sprayed. So I'm trying to keep one eye on that as we work our way down. It shouldn't be a problem while we're headed down the aisles, but particularly whenever you get to the first and the last trees in the lane, then sometimes I miss those. All right, oh, there you go. I can already see I missed one over here next to us. And in this case, I am not going to go back over. I don't know how I missed it. Must have swung too far to one side or the other in the lane, but I'm not going to go back and get that one. It is just out of the way at this point. We'll just miss being 100%, and it'll hurt our yield, I'm sure, just a little bit, but not enough that I'm going to spend a whole lot of time worrying about it. Okay, you can see we're spraying at 84% now. So I'm guessing we'll end up at what, 98, 99%? Yeah, 98%. So now we'll start by taking care of, hopefully I don't miss any trees in this orchard. And then once we get up and running with our new orchard, it'll be interesting to see on our, whenever we get through our first cycle and get our first harvest, it'll be interesting to see how the yields differ from our new orchard compared to these orchards. Because we know these orchards are more expensive to purchase, so hopefully that means that they give us more yield. Otherwise, it'd be hard to justify in the future if we do a different playthrough or have to do another restart because of some updates. It'll be very hard to justify purchasing these particular orchards. All right, so far so good. I've managed not to miss any. Still don't know how I missed that one tree. I must have been way off when I was spraying on that first lane. All right, make sure we got them. I think we did. Just gonna go ahead and leave the sprayer on. And make sure we get the first two. Ooh, I got way off base there. That's what I get for watching the mini map more than I'm watching where I'm going. All right, I'll take it. So far, so good. We're about 70% done at this point, because I am ready to head over to the next orchard and get going there. And of course, this time we'll have plenty of money available so that we'll be able to actually teleport all of our equipment over rather than having to manually drive everything over. All right, so we'll end up our orchards 100% spraying on one and 98% spraying on the other. I tell you what, I can't. I'm right here. I'm too close. I'm going to drive my way down here and try to get this one last tree. I'm just too close not to do it. I had planned on not doing it, but... All right, let's go ahead and turn that sprayer on. Make sure we get it this time. There we go. Now we're at 100. Now I can be happy. Because I just knew that was going to worry me if I missed that one tree, even though the difference in yield would probably have been non-existent. I'm just sure it would have bothered me enough that I would eventually had to come back over and spray that. Okay, let's hop out for just a second and let's see where this leaves us on our notifications. Okay, it does indeed say that we are in good shape right now. Again, I'll have to come back over and refill the water, but I can do that off camera. You guys don't have to watch me refill the water tanks every time. Keeps our videos a little bit shorter. All right, so now everything is in line with where it needs to be, and we're ready to go spend some money. Okay, so in order to do that, I'm going to go and hop in our car, or our truck rather. Okay, and then if we look at the map, where we are headed is, there's an orchard there, but that's a little bit farther away from the water than I would like to be, because in order to get water for this orchard, we would actually have to use the same tank we were using before, way back here, right there. So it's not, it's not the end of the world, of course. None of these water tanks or fertilizer bins are very far from where we need to be. But again, we're just trying to maximize all we can. And this, as we talked about, water is right here next to you. And of course, with the shed comes your pesticide right there nearby, along with the location where we sell, all in extremely close proximity. So let's go ahead and see if we can make our way down there. Wow. Okay, come on, game. Work with me. Alright, so we're going to try to work our way over here pretty quickly in this wonderfully driving car. Alright, we're going to try to take some shortcuts and get through here. I don't know if they'll actually end up being shortcuts by the time we get there, and no, it doesn't look like they will be. So I'm going to have to go around anyway. Oh, look at that. Look at that. The game is trolling me now. They knew exactly what I was going to be doing, so they put that water there. And we do not want to drown the truck, because then we will have to do major repairs and cost us major money on that. And we're not ready to do maintenance just yet. Okay, so much for that. The game knew exactly what we'd be trying to do, cutting through the map. And so they took that away from us. Woo, watch out. Come on, car. Focus. So we can get there quickly, but we may not get there in one piece. And finally, here we go. So here is the area, and of course you can see there's some more renewable energy. We've got a couple, in fact, of the wind turbines nearby. Alright, here we go. So we're now at the shed. Let's go ahead and purchase that. Then let's hop back in the truck. And there's where we're going to be selling. Right next door. There's our music playlist popping up, even though I've tried multiple times to turn that off. Alright, we'll hop over to the orchard. Press B. We want to purchase this for $45,000, and we are off and running. Okay, so I'm going to park, for now, I'm just going to park the truck over here out of the way, because we're going to hop in the sprayer. Okay, and let's go ahead, go back to our map and pull up the shed. There we go. So we'll click on the shed and then F to teleport. There we go. So here's where we get to have fun with the camera. Try to line this thing up as best I can. Thankfully the game has pity on me and doesn't require me to get this perfect. Okay, so we're down to about $9 grand, $9,200. You can see it costs a little bit every time you teleport equipment, but boy is it worth it. Okay, we're all full on our sprayer. And now it is time to spray our new orchard. And off in the distance you can see the water tank. There we go. Hopefully I can stay close enough to the center of this lane that we can spray and actually hit all the trees. But yeah, this orchard is absolutely perfectly placed. The first two that we purchased are also, I believe, very well placed in proximity to the water, and of course the fertilizer is pretty easy with a shed nearby. And then also with, so let's make sure we get that last one. And then also with the area where we're going to sell our fruits and vegetables. The closer the better. Alright, somehow we have a water level of 100% on this particular orchard. And I assume that's from the rain yesterday in game time. I assume. We'll take it either way, because it should mean that as soon as we get done spraying here, that our orchards will begin the growth process, and then I will simply, off camera, come through and, ooh, watch out, get all those trees. Look at those driving skills on full display. But yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice if it would show 100% and start growing. And like I mentioned earlier, it's getting to the point where I feel like the spraying process doesn't take very long. First time we did this, it felt to me like it took forever. All right, there we go, 100%. Let's go ahead and stop for just a second so that I can take a quick look at our notifications. And sure enough, there it is. We are in great shape. All right, so at this point, and you can see it did not use very much of our chemical either. All right, so at this point, we're going to head down here and sell, or excuse me, not sell. I've got selling on the brain now that we've gotten such a good harvest. Okay, we're going to drop this tractor off right here, and with the money we have left over, we got $8,600. So I'm going to go ahead and purchase this wind turbine, since it's right here next to us. And then there's another one across the road over there. All right, so we're in great shape. We got even more money coming in. That'll be an extra couple of $100 coming in per day. Now let's head back over and okay, that'll get us what we need. And if we pull up the map, we'll go ahead and teleport this over, and I'll simply bring it back here in a little bit off camera and refill those. Yeah, so $150 to do that. No big deal whatsoever. I will gladly pay that. Ooh, come on now. Work with me, tractor. Turn. There we go. So let's go ahead and fill up with the water. It's funny how the little things get you excited in these games. After you get going a little bit and you've made a few trips to refill the water tank and the sprayers and that sort of thing, that you just get really excited by the fact that the water in this case is really, really close by, so it's even shorter a distance you have to travel. It's the little things. And I'm still hoping that at some point in the future we'll get a modded water tank that we can actually use as a water source nearby. I would be perfectly fine with paying a small fee to every time we use that mobile water source, just to sort of simulate the idea that we are having to refill that tank even though we don't have to do it manually. Alright, so now we got our full water tank. Now we need to fill up our water storage. There we go. And we already know that the full water storage here doesn't quite take as much as we have in our tank. Alright, so for now, I believe if we hop out, if I can get this thing to stop, there we go. Alright, if we hop out, let's take a look at our notifications. Everything is good. So I think we're going to leave it here for today's video. I'm going to go ahead and hop back over to our other orchards and refill the water storage. But other than that, we're done. So when we'll come back next time, we'll fast forward through time some more, have another harvest, and look at what else that we can purchase and or upgrade. So that'll do it for now. Thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned for more of our gameplay series of Pure Farming 2018.